Congressman Ronny Jackson, you saw him sitting right there next to Jim Jordan. Good to have you back on, sir. All of Fauci's behavior points to just one realistic truth here. He was very nervous in the early days of the pandemic.
Well, that's absolutely right, Rob, and that's what we're going to find out when this is all over, is that this came out. Fauci immediately realized, most likely, that he had been involved in funding this particular research at this particular lab, and he probably immediately realized what was going on. So he went into damage control mode, and he had people calling and meeting with him, other scientists, other colleagues, telling him that, hey, this has every indication that this was man-made. This is not of natural origin. This did not come from a wet market,
right.
From an animal in a wet market in Wuhan. This came most likely from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And so he started his damage control mode. He started calling people. He had a phone call with some of these key folks that were blowing these alarms. I don't know what happened on that phone call. Within 3 days, several of them came out publicly with a complete opposite assessment, basically saying that there was no way that they didn't think there was any way possible that this was man-made, that it must have been natural origin, which was just the opposite of what they had told Fauci on the phone. They flipped. And then we find out later that these people actually got huge NIH grants worth millions and millions of dollars. So they were most likely bought off. These are all the things that we don't have the complete answers to yet, but we're getting answers. Whistleblowers are coming out. We're getting access to emails.
It's all moving in one direction. We've over the last 6 months or so, all the evidence is pointing in one direction. You're not getting anything pushing this stuff away, and that to me indicates everything. There are people out there that claim that gain of function is essential to stopping pandemics and creating vaccines. Here was what Redfield, the former head of the CDC, said about that.
Dr. Redfield, has gain of function created any life-saving vaccines or therapeutics to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
Has gain of function stopped a pandemic, in your opinion?
No, on the contrary, I think it probably caused the greatest pandemic our world has seen.
We got to stop doing this. This needs to be. I mean, I know we stopped it here in the United States for a period of time. The fact that these scientists can still play this risky game with all of our lives.
Yeah, Rob, this is literally playing God with these viruses, and we don't know enough about this kind of stuff to protect ourselves. And you can evidence by what happened with coronavirus. And you can look at that virus, and there are genetic markers in the RNA sequence of this virus that indicate that this was man-made. Not only those genetic sequences there, but they were placed in positions that made it highly infectious for human-to-human spread. This is not something that happened just in nature. This is something that was engineered. This was made by people like Dr. Fauci, who think that they're smarter than everyone else.
Right, yeah. The ranking Democrat on this committee, Raul Ruiz, tried to steer testimony away from COVID origins. He immediately brings up white supremacy right out of the gate. I was baffled when I saw that. Literally, the first thing he said to discredit the first witness. Take a listen to this.
House Republicans invited a writer whose extreme and dangerous views have been echoed by white supremacists to testify on the issue of the novel's coronavirus origins. In May of 2014, David Duke, former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, hosted a radio show praising Mr. Wade in his book, A Troublesome Inheritance. Mr. Wade, are you aware of David Duke's praise of your views on his website?
So we're in a committee hearing to try and find out what created the virus that crippled the entire world and killed millions of people. And this clown immediately starts bringing up the fact that some book written by an expert was liked by a guy in the Ku Klux Klan. That's their position.
Well, Rob, you shouldn't be surprised. Every single thing that comes down the pike, it doesn't matter what the topic in Congress is, the Democrats always bring it back to two things, either race or President Trump. That's all they want to talk about. They tried to tie it to President Trump. They kept bringing President Trump's name up. They kept bringing up racism. They were calling us, they'd been calling us for a long time conspiracy theorists. That's all they wanted to do. They were just distracting from the absolute facts that are coming out right now in emails and with whistleblowers demonstrating that they have been wrong for 2 years, that the press, that Dr. Fauci, that the World Health Organization, that China, they've all lied to the American people, and they've cost us lives, they've cost us our jobs, our livelihoods, they've cost us the education of our children, all of these things. They're responsible for it, and now they're trying their best to get out of it, and they're all in damage control mode, scrambling because they realize the ball is dropping.
Exactly. You hit the nail right on the head. It is one of the biggest stories of the last probably 25 years in this country, at least. It's a massive story that had massive implications. I want to get one final thought from you. We're still in this negotiation, this battle with AT&T and DirecTV. We're trying to get back on DirecTV. We're trying to avoid being censored out of existence by these, huge companies that hold all the power, and they're all run by liberals, and none of them really like us that much, but we're fighting still. And we know we have your support, and to everybody out there that's supporting us, we appreciate it. Just your thoughts on that. We're like 5-6 weeks into this thing now.
You've absolutely got my support. This is nothing more than the same type of censorship that we've been seeing going on for 2 years when the political left doesn't like the narrative. They don't like some of the stuff that you say on your channel because you share the other side of the view. Exactly. You share the view of millions and millions of Americans all over this country. And you've got my support. And I'll tell people right now they should go out and they should dump AT&T and they should dump DirecTV and they should pull up your app and they should start watching Newsmax. And we need to correct this.
Thank you, sir, very much for the continued support. Congressman Ronny Jackson, we appreciate it, sir.